take a look at that, at the current version of the world map. Let's have to run the game. The only way to load the world map right now is to actually load the game. And one of the things I did today is to create the to make the edge around the water, around the land, prettier. Right. So if we take a look here, basically worked on the edges here. Yeah, there's an error. I did pull, and still there's an error. But so creating edge variations and how we do that. So currently the way it works, it's right here. There's 16 different variations for the water edges, and each one with a different weight on them, so that it generates differently. And if I can grab the water edge. Yeah, so let's take a look at the project folders. As you can see, there are a whole bunch of these little water edge files. And right now, you're just kind of randomizing and picking them to create the edges around the hexes where there's water. And what's kind of fun is that you can edit these things real time. So I can just grab the PNG, like these guys, these two of them, for example. Can grab them, put it in Photoshop, right? Minimize this, go back to my world map in the game, okay, and I can move around the game. The game is still running, and I can go into Photoshop, and I can mess this up. I can try stuff with it, right? And I just find that's a really cool process because it's get instantaneous test results, you know. Okay, you know, we can draw a big old pink happy face on it, and it's going to show up in the world map. Have to save it. Yes. And then we switch back to Unity, and then boom, it's a happy face. So those are the edges that use that happy face sprite. And I mean, the trickiest thing with this is to make sure that they all look nicely together when they're repeated a lot of times. So being able to like very quickly make changes in Photoshop and then seeing it, you know, in action live is really cool. So I've been doing a bunch of that. I basically made I think 16 different variations of edges. So the more variations they are, the less you see the repeating pattern, right? So I mean, for this one, we can try making it like a super long island off the coast and see what it looks like. Do maybe this. Save it. Now we switch back, and right here we have these like peninsulas. And you know, I kind of like that shape there, and we can keep it right there. That one too. So that's a cool one. The other thing we did today is changing the water, because before the water used to be just like a flat blue, and they were actually repeated hex shapes like what you see right here in the lower right on my screen, but they were just blue color. But now we got this water sprite now, and it's just tiled, so it's like a tileable water texture, except that right now I find it's a little bit too crazy water texture. So what I'm gonna do, just like the edges of the islands, I can edit the water in real time editing, and see the result. So how do I calm down the texture? I can remove the contrast a little bit, turn it into a more subtle lines, thinner, more subtle lines. And one thing I want to try out is I want to actually like animate these guys. You know, in fact, Mike, would it break anything if I make the tiles like half the size? Instead of 512, it'll be 250. Yeah, if I made it 256, it'll still tie.
It'll be totally fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's make it smaller, because I want to kind of animate the water, or at least try. Because it'll be cool in the world map, right? If the
I don't know.
what?
Maybe. It might make the rest of the map really high.
Hmm?
It might make the rest of the map really high.
Okay, so you're okay that the waves. I mean, I'm gonna try to tone down the waves. I guess start with that and see how it looks. Because I guess if you see the waves too much and they don't move at all, then it's kind of static. Okay. Okay, there are questions and I kind of have not been looking at them. Let's see. Yeah, you can definitely edit 2D, most assets while running the game. It's totally fine in Unity. So it saves time, otherwise you have to restart the game. Do you feel it helps in breaking the edge of the hexagons? Yeah, it definitely does, because before we felt that the world map felt too stiff, you know, like perfect hexes. And having a little bit of edge variations there makes it feel a bit more organic. Definitely, like here you can see it. And let's see, like this edge too.
How closely does the in-game world match the overlay map? Do those islands exist?
Not really. So if you can, we can go into like the way the honeycombs works. How can I show the editing of that?
Search for honeycomb, and just like, yeah, open any of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
edit honeycomb tile. Yeah.
the way we generate the maps, the world maps, is that we have these pre-made honeycomb that we call them, and we kind of stack them together. It's almost like making a board game hex map. You know, you take different pieces of cardboard and you kind of piece them together. And so this is the editor. That's what it kind of looks like. This is an awesome little tool that Mike made. And basically, Tanya can place whatever she wants within this particular piece. Okay.
Yeah, this is actually what I was explaining to you yesterday. The desert. All I do is put in a normal desert,
Yeah,
and then it
yeah.
randomly chooses.
Whoops.
Oh, you're painting with nothing, by the way.
Oh, this is a brush. Okay,
yeah,
you can
so
paint.
technically you could paint sand, but that's not good because then it will be randomly sand.
So you can add different kinds of desert. Is there one desert too, for like visual variation?
No. Right now there
Okay.
isn't. We could probably expand it, but right now you can
Like,
be like,
what if you wanna
always
have-
want sand right there, then you can put sand there. But right now it'll just randomly pick.
I
Like,
see,
20%
I
or
see.
something.
So that's how we, and then he randomizes the
Right now it's just
honeycomb.
random.
And then those are
And
the,
they can also tilt.
they
like,
can also
be
rotate.
aggressive.
Okay.
And then one of these is the city, 1-0. So I think that's this one.
Yeah,
on the
that's a
left.
city.
That's a
Okay.
city. That's always going to be a city.
Why
if
is there
there's
two
room for a city.
villages?
Well, it's just the icon for the adventure as well. Like the adventure, it probably should be updated somewhere in the tools. But
Okay,
it looks
okay.
like a city,
At the time
but it's
was
actually an
okay,
adventure.
okay.
And then if they can't find a city, it adds another adventure.
Yeah. So what this prevents is that it prevents having two cities right next to each other, so that there's like a consistent amount of cool stuff happening all over the map a little bit,
Yep.
and you can hand
But
build it
there's
a
still
bit
only
better.
a maximum of one desert village, one forest.
And you can then place water tiles. So placing water tiles, that's how we get some of the like more nicer like organic shapes right here, right?
Yep.
And so the smaller icons, I can't point, people can't see. The smaller areas like this here and the little tree here, those are the areas that you can go into, the adventure areas. And once you have unlocked another location that's close to it, it's going to draw another path to it. So when I go to Kapar, next time the next adventure zone I can go to is probably going to be like this one right here. Maybe this one, I don't know if it's too far, but it's basically going to draw like a path to it. And within each adventure zone, they're self-contained, so they don't necessarily, they're not, each adventure zones are not connected really to another within the pixel art world. Yeah, someone suggested that it would be cool to animate the water with a shader. That's cool. That would be cool. Have like a normal map shader. But the thing is, the world map is using like UI sprites, and they don't work. I mean, I don't know how well they'll integrate with shaders and different kinds of materials. I think actually right now if I try to change the material in the water, it's just ignoring it. So it's just 2D sprites I can use right now. But yeah, Tanya did raise the concern that by animating the water, we might make everything else too static, you know, like maybe the trees should like wobble a little bit, like the grass should go with the wind, but by having everything more static, it won't look as weird. Scott Fisher is so modest. Okay, so let's go back to our little water guy. Now, let's see. Drawing some water stuff. Someone's asking if we've considered, I guess, making Unity assets, like plugins, selling them on the market. Making our tools available. I think Tanya's going to answer that in text in the chat. I guess it would be cool, but I think right now our tools are a bit too specific to our needs. But we could. Okay, so I can just save this PNG right now and see how it looks in the world map. Boom, water, come on. Okay, sometimes you need to right click and refresh for it to load the new texture. Okay, yeah, no, it's better already. Less busy. Yeah, we can run with that. Still get rid of some of these lines, like right here. I don't think this looks a bit too strong right now. I want to tone it down a bit more. Oh yeah, and I could add paper texture to all the water. And the other thing is because I painted it just now, it doesn't tile anymore. It doesn't tile perfectly, which is easy to fix. But oops. Right now, I just want to get rid of some of these lines. I think it's right about here. Yeah, that's true, and that's exactly what we're doing now. Because before, right, if you look at the old map, before the water were their own was another hex tile itself that was just blue. But now what Mike did today is I took out that so that right now, if I can find water, I think. Yeah, right now the water texture is just its own thing. Can turn off the water, and you see right now the water is just one object and it's set on tiled, right? So we can basically stretch it to whatever size we want and it still look good. Boom. Except right now it doesn't tile super well, which is what I'm gonna fix now. Water texture. Add this back in, and to make something tiled, you can go into filter, other, offset, and offset it by the half pixel count of the size of the image, so you can see where the seams are, and just as long as you paint out the seams, it's gonna be okay. I think that's what the 3D artists do to create seamless textures. There must be tools available for it, but it doesn't take too long. Oh! He was the French guy at the Stone Jam. Clément?
Oh.
What is that? I'm bad. I think your name is Clément.
I accidentally closed the tab.
You're terrible.
No.
Tanya accidentally closed the tab.
Well, because I was trying to fix the 2 p.m. splash.
Did you like paint.net my 2 p.m.
No, not yet.
I mean, the other thing you can do, you can use like the stone, not the stone gem, no, the stamp clone brush to just use different part of the same texture to kind of paint over the seams. Basically, it samples one area and then you paint with that sampled area. Pretty handy.
What's that font again?
The one I use for that is Charis. I don't think you have it. It's the official dialogue font. Okay. And just use whatever. I don't. That's perfect. I love Papyrus. Okay, let's offset it another time to check for seams, and seems to be okay. And I can paint that out a little bit. There's some inconsistencies. But I think it's good. Let's save this. And check back on our map. Let's refresh this. Alright. It is okay. Yeah. Oh, someone got a tool for, what is this? Oh, wraparound mode for creating seamless texture. That's cool. Is it a free tool for painting? Check it out later. Thanks. I do feel like right now everything. Oh yeah, the water, the paper texture. Forgot about that. Haha. Okay, so we do have a paper texture somewhere. That's seamless. Let me grab that. Paper texture. UI paper texture. Drop it right on top. And I'm just going to scale it to the size of water. Then I can set this on like overlay, I guess. No, multiply. Makes everything a bit dark. So I want to curve it up a little bit. Okay. Desaturate it. Okay. Not too strong. Let's see. Oh, it's free open source. That's cool. Unfortunately, I bought Photoshop already, so I feel bad not using something that I spent so much money on. Okay, okay. Man, it would be cool if you could just like take the water. Oh. Hey, we got a guest. Ichiro.
Hey
Hello.
everyone, how you? Oh wait, sorry, the camera's.
Let's see. It's
There you
here.
are.
Right here.
Excellent. Well, what are you guys showing off today?
Well,
have you ever told it? Have you already told everybody?
Yeah, no, you can introduce yourself.
Hi,
to everyone on the
I'm
stream.
Ichiro Lamb of Dejabon Games. You might know us from our 2009 title, Reckless Disregard for Gravity, and most recently, last December, Elegy for a Dead World, which is a game about creative writing. That's it.
Very cool, very
I'm
cool.
going to go over here to the side, and I'm going to watch you present.
Yeah, well, today we were just talking a bit about, like, it's a bit of a dev stream, I guess. I was just showing the world map, and
I haven't streamed in like 8 months.
yeah, it's been a while.
Like, let's show what's up.
Of fame. People recognize you on the stream.
Oh,
apparently.
Someone says, holy crap, hi.
That's awesome.
All right. Can we show the ending cutscene?
No.
Just the first one, just the first frame.
First frame?
The first scene, because I'm pretty proud of that. That's something I did
Not the whole
that I'm proud of. Yeah, that's all right. So I've been also working on the cutscene for Wind Hunters, right? I'm gonna show you a little preview of that. So that's cool. Water's done.
I mean, I'm in the chat, but people are actually pretty...
Okay, this is secret stuff. Spoilers, but I'll try to not spoil anything. Okay, let's grab. I like to go on the title screen to test stuff, but yeah, secret preview, that's right. Spilling the beans. Okay, alright. We don't need this. Okay. So, cutscene. Just gonna turn off everything here. I'm gonna open up the cutscene player, which is a thing that holds cutscenes. Cutscene player. And frame and background. Turn up the calendar. So you were the moon all along. Okay. Ending one. Okay. Now. Okay. So all the cutscene was animated in Unity, right? So here we go. This is well, it's lagging. Yes. So yeah, I did this I think last week, most of last week. Took more time than I thought, but pretty happy about the results. And my goal with it was to kind of make it, even though it's like a 2D plane, I want to make it feel like there's depth to it. So I did a lot of like parallaxing with it and stuff. All right. So this is the, you know, all the frames and stuff, and each keyframe is a change in one value, right? It could be the scaling, it could be the opacity or something, but basically it gets pretty crazy after a while, especially if you have a lot of stuff going on in the scene. So let's see. Yeah, so this is the cutscene. Basically one of the possible endings, and really one thing that I'm happy about is just kind of this parallaxing effect. Alright. Yeah, that's one I want to show. But if we're going to go about it, it's basically, if we break it down, we have several layers, right? We have many different layers on it. So there's a sky itself, there's a glowing light, and then the golem, which is what this guy is sitting on, is divided into 3 parts. So you got the back, the middle, and then the front with the guy sitting on it. And they all kind of move at slightly different measures. So the one in the back kind of stretches this way. The one in the middle stretches but a bit less, and the one in the front doesn't stretch much. It just kind of moves to the right. Yeah. And we can look at the second part. So let's go. Let the new age begin. And we're going to get voice actors to narrate the cutscene, so that's going to be cool. And this part, again, it's the same kind of trick to create a 3D effect. The tower itself is broken into different parts. Like you can see in the lower right here, they have the top of the tower, the bottom, and then the front. If I just turn it off, you can see that. Whoops. You can see it's just stretching. It's just taking taking each part and kind of stretching them at different measures, different speeds, right? And then moving up and down, so that it gives it that fake impression that's 3D. Yeah, and you know, whatever is in front, whatever is closest to the camera, should move and scale the most, and whatever is more behind and further behind scales less and moves less. Thanks, people. Clément asked me, did you choose to animate in Unity for size technical constraints, or was it your first time animating cinematics? And was it your first time? I took one After Effects class in college, and that was the first time animated stuff. And funny enough, it was like the opening credits for Kingdom of Heaven, so it was also set in the desert in medieval times. So it's kind of funny, like drawing deserts again and moving desert pieces. But the reason why we're doing it in Unity is because, first of all, localization. If I want to kind of match, it's easier to just localize a text string straight out of Unity. And secondly, we used to use export a video. I would use After Effects to animate and do all the effects, and I could have like more like watercolor effects and export a video out of it. But the video ended up being super heavy, like 300 megabytes almost. And because it was 1080p, it would chug on like lower end computers. So the more optimized way of doing it, at least like without buying a really expensive plugin or something, is to just import sprites and animate it in Unity. And I think I'm getting a hang of how to get cool effects with basic tools like just scaling and movement, and yeah. And I do little things like for effects, like right here, there's this, at the end, there's this little white flash at the end. I don't know if the frame rate allows you to see it, but there's basically a white flash, and that effect is just like a very simple enabling, just like a square fill that's white on top of everything, and then kind of turning it on and off at the end. Do you anticipate localization of the textures? Not the textures, only of the texts. And also, that's the other reason.
The opening town changes, right?
The opening town can change, and then if we want to, we can also change who the hero sprites would be, right? So if you're playing the Spellblade, we could show the Spellblade image in the cutscene instead of another character. So that's an advantage.
Yeah, the animations actually change dynamically based on what you're doing in the game.
Yeah, so the animation could change dynamically based on what you're doing in the game, which for a video you have to just export a whole bunch of different versions of videos. Alright, let's take a look. Is there any parenting involved? Or are they just moving very close to each other to give that impression? I don't parent things because I find it's more control right now to just move it individually by hand. So like if they're a group of the same object, I have to move them like together. Let's see if there's another, without spoiling, I probably shouldn't show the rest of the cutscene. I don't want to spoil anything. Okay. Is there a ratio between the middle, front, middle, and back sketches, or did you do it by hand? No, I just did it by hand. I kind of did it by eye. So the way I would do it is I would start, with certain values, like a default value. I'll place in the default value, and I'll have an idea of like if the panning would start from the left to the right, or start from the right to the left, or it would be coming from the back to the front. And I'll start by placing the default position of all the sprites in the beginning position, and then I'll just move forward in the timeline, and then just kind of move everything to that direction, and then I'll just scrub the timeline here to see the effect, and then make little changes as I go. So basically, I will be, if I were to redo it, all right? Whoops. I'll be like taking, this guy, moving it a bit more to the right and scaling it. I'll be taking this guy, moving a bit to the right and scaling it, same idea. And then this guy will be moving to the right and scaling it again. And then I'll just go back in the timeline and kind of see the effect. Like right now, what doesn't work is the object in the back is kind of freaking out a little bit. Like here in the beginning, I think you need to move to the right a little bit more, the object in the back. So we can go grab golem 1 and then move it to the right a bit more and see how it goes. But the thing is, right now the curves are being a bit crazy, the smoothing curves, because it's trying to smooth out, because I left the final keyframes in the first one, so it's trying to smooth out between the first one, the middle, and the last one. Kind of weird, but get rid of that. Like I thought about also just actually building things in 3D space. Like right now, I turned the camera to be in 3D, and you see everything is on the same plane. But in theory, I could move sprites back and forth in the 3D plane, right? And use this to create parallax. Like actually, like what parallax actually is this, and like do effects like that. But I couldn't figure out a way, or it wouldn't be easy to keep the text, because the text will also be doing that parallaxing effect, and we'll need to have an extra camera or something, and then rotate that extra camera to create this free parallaxing effect. You could do this. This is pretty cool. You could definitely do this. Let me see. I can probably grab. I can grab all. Oh, this might have been something I should have done actually. Discovering no techniques here, but I can turn. Yeah, Hearthstone, man, this is awesome. I love it. Like doing this could be interesting.
Oh, you want to make an animated card game
No,
now?
but
Talking about how you need to check out Armello. Armello is really cool.
Yeah, I should. It looks really polished and nice. I've started doing like normal mapping 2D illustrations, and it gives some cool little effects. I mean, I think I showed it. Thanks. Yeah, we got let's turn back to 2D. All right. What else can I show? Yep, I think we got a couple minutes left, like 7 minutes left. We can take a couple more questions. Otherwise, oh yeah, the other thing I could show, more secrets. Been working on boss tests on the final boss map. I'm not going to show what the boss does necessarily, but basically for every boss, for every arena fights are just fights where the camera is locked into the area and you can't get out of it. And each arena needs its own like wall type. So we have several arena walls going on here, and each one animates differently. So the desert, for the desert, why is it doing that? Okay, weird. No, just the arena walls. So the arena walls are just kind of these like obstacles that spawns after you've been teleported inside the arena, like the boss fight. So this one's a desert one. Am I gonna try using some normal map wizardry for the cutscenes? Nah, it takes time and it's a bit experimental. Maybe I'll do it for something that doesn't require like a lot of drawings. If it's just one portrait, and I could try normal mapping it. That'll be fun. Then the jungle arena wall. Like the jungle wall, it kind of grows like that. And for the fire one, it's a bit crazy. They're basically like a bunch of meteors dropping from the sky and then creating like puddles of lava on the ground. And that's what I've been working on. Instead of having stuff popping out from the ground, for the final boss, it's gonna be more exciting. Whoa. Okay. Well, this is still very work in progress, but there we go. So basically, you have this like meteor dropping down, and when it hits, it activates like a splash, right? A splash. Splash. But yeah. It does look terrible right now.
Show them the cool stuff. Do concept art.
Sorry. I am bad. Concept art, I don't know, I don't really have. I showed half an hour showing water. Yeah, working on this lady. She's the leader of the Celestines. She's real smart. Yeah, so I did the line drawing. I'm gonna start working on the colors.